And now please welcome Chief Executive Officer Jitesh Ghai.
Welcome to CommunityLIVE 2026. I am thrilled to be here with all of you. My leadership team is thrilled to be here with all of you. Team Hyland and our global partner network is thrilled to be here with all of you. We have an immense amount of innovation to share with all of you today and this week. A lot of updates, and for those keeping track, it's only been 10 months since the last CommunityLIVE. We are accelerating our innovation pace. But before we get into the details, I wanted to share something, a milestone for me, a personal milestone for me. 12 days ago was my 2-year anniversary at Hyland. Thank you. And reflecting, it's been an incredibly gratifying and transformative 2 years for me personally. It's been a transformational 2 years for Hyland, and it's been a transformational time for our industry. 2 years ago at CommunityLIVE, I shared with all of you that there are these secular technology tailwinds that promise to give structure to unstructured data, and in doing so, radically transform the strategic relevance of enterprise content management and the value it can deliver to your organizations. Last year, I shared with you that with these trends accelerating, we're now entering an era of ubiquitous intelligence, and from it, ubiquitous automation. And if you can believe it, now I will share with you that we're entering yet another era. The era of ubiquitous noise and complexity. We are being bombarded with all sorts of rapid innovation. What models do we use? The models are changing every week. If I pick one, am I locked in? We all understand that you need enterprise context for your AI to work, but then we're being told that you need to move all your data to the cloud to get enterprise context. You're hearing that you need to blow up your entire technology stack to realize any agentic outcomes for your organization, and that you can only do it in one cloud. Or that you need to blow up all of your business processes because of agents and drive enterprise-wide change management to become an agentic enterprise. We at Hyland, our DNA has always been rooted in pragmatism. We always focused on the customer outcome, the business outcome for our customers. And for us, the answer is much, much simpler. I like to decompose problems into first principles. And the first principles for enterprise AI start with models. And we've established there's plenty of those. Billions of dollars have been spent by the frontier labs in training these models, highly sophisticated models, extremely powerful. $1 trillion spent in CapEx on compute, readily available from your favorite hyperscaler or neocloud. But for these models and this compute to be productive for your organization, they need your mission-critical enterprise data. Without your mission-critical enterprise data, these models, this compute, is not going to deliver any meaningful outcomes for you. In fact, 70 to 90% of your enterprise data is unstructured. And that unstructured data is positioned to more than double over the next 2 years and beyond. This unstructured data of documents, images, videos is so mission critical that the rich context and insights from your enterprise content populate the systems of records that your organization relies on to run its business. Your ERPs, CRMs, HCMs, EHRs, student platforms, legal systems, and so many more. Because of the context and insights that sit in your unstructured data. It's so valuable that your knowledge workers spend a meaningful portion of their day extracting these insights, combining them with other sources of information, and keeping these systems of records up to date. The context and insights are so mission critical that your knowledge workers are bringing these insights, extracting them, combining them to make decisions, take actions, approve, decline, request for more information, progressing your business processes. All of these document-centric tasks and activities, if you distill them down to their very essence of extracting insights, combining it with other sources of information, and taking actions, we call that human ETL. You're extracting insights, you're transforming it, and you're doing something with it. And human ETL has existed because we previously haven't been able to give structure to unstructured data. We now live in a world where we can do that, and all of these document-centric tasks and workflows can be automated. And it starts with content management as your foundation. And from there, agent enabling all of these document-centric tasks and activities, all of the human ETL that's happening in the organization, have all of those activities happen at machine speed, accelerated, and in the process, free up your very valuable knowledge workers to focus on accelerated decisions, accelerated actions, accelerated customer outcomes, and accelerated business powered by content. Human ETL might sound a little abstract, but it's all around us. Think about the manual work that happens with invoice processing, or transcript processing, or employee onboarding, all the documents involved, all the extracting, all the loading into systems or workflows being approved based on the context and data within these documents across all of these different, very common workflows. In fact, 20 to 40% of the organization's time in the Global 2000 is spent doing human ETL. If we take the midpoint, that's 2 hours of valuable knowledge worker time per day, looking at emails, looking at documents, images, videos. It's 1.5 days a week, 6 days per month, 3.5 months a year of productivity unlocked that can now focus on the highest ROI activities and drive business acceleration for your organization. That is what we call the content-powered agentic enterprise. What does that look like for hospitals? What does a content-powered agentic hospital look like? These are just a sample of examples, whether it's patient intake, care orchestration, lab diagnostics, the very challenging revenue cycle management. All the document-centric tasks in these critical functions can now be automated. What does a content-powered insurer look like? Whether it's policy issuance, underwriting, risk management, compliance, claims adjudication, very document-centric activities, all automatable with agents. The content-powered agentic bank, automate new customer onboarding, automate the KYC and AML checks, automate the back office transactions, the payments, the lending process, get loans to people faster. All automatable. The content-powered agentic government agency, critical citizen services, whether it's licensing and permitting, public safety and justice, life-changing services from your state, from from your agency, all those document-centric activities automatable. And then the Agentic University, I think you're getting the idea. Student onboarding, credentialing, transcript processing, research grants, the administrative efforts of running a college or university. All the document-centric activities in these industries, in any industry, in any enterprise of any scale and sophistication, tremendous opportunity for productivity. All powered by your content. And so no, you don't need to blow up your tech stack to realize value, agentic enterprise value. You don't need to drive enterprise-wide change management because you blew up your business processes. In fact, what is critical is enterprise context to power your AI and agents. And to truly realize enterprise context, it comes from your existing content, existing data, existing systems, existing people and processes, not some future state. It is critical to meet your organization as it is, where it is today, to truly get enterprise context. And for that, you need an architecture that's adaptable and flexible, that is going to transform and adjust itself as you transform and adjust your organization. Now, I recognize that there are probably a lot of questions that are coming up in your minds. And we have a lot of answers for all of you today. We will share a technology blueprint for the content-powered agentic enterprise. We will showcase amazing content-powered agentic innovations that exist today, that are live in production and realizing incredible outcomes. And we have the great honor of having two visionaries from healthcare and insurance that will be joining me on stage to share their vision for the content-powered agentic hospital, the content-powered agentic insurer, and how they're collaborating with Hyland to realize this vision and the outcomes from it from their enterprise content. So, are you ready to get to it? Come on now. All right. Please join me in welcoming our Chief Technology Officer, Tim McIntyre. Tim, come on out. Fate of the world is on your shoulders.
Let's go. Thank you, Jitesh. And what an exciting look at what can be accomplished with a content-powered agentic enterprise. In a minute here, I'm going to geek out on that technology blueprint and talk about the technology and architecture behind all of this. But first, a few core principles that we all believe in when we build out this notion of a content-powered agentic enterprise. First, any platform that derives intelligence for your enterprise should be open and modular. We need to connect to others, have best of breed. The AI ecosystem is moving incredibly quickly, and we need to keep up by being open and modular. We don't want to be locked in. Second, it's important for services to be available as multi-cloud. You need either a multi-cloud architecture, a hybrid on-prem. We need to meet users where they are with their data. Third, your data architecture must be federated and connect to enterprise data from multiple systems. We can't have a massive data migration and governance project at the beginning of an AI initiative and expect to be successful. Fourth, that content that's federated and that we access from the broader system is where we need to generate context for your agents. Jitesh talked about this. This is where we provide business-specific knowledge to your agentic enterprise. And finally, and this is a real important one for me and for us at Hyland, at its core, the agentic enterprise, especially at the data layer, should be open source. Now, of course, there are commercial services at different layers of the stack and SaaS, but your data should be yours and it should be open. Okay, with these principles in mind, let's double-click on the content-powered agentic enterprise, this kind of generic picture of what the stack looks like. And in every implementation we see, there are three critical layers. There's a system of action at the top of the stack. There's enrichment and context to provide to your agents. And then at the bottom of the stack, in many ways the most important part of the stack, is the foundation. It's governed content and data. So let's look at the system of action. This is the layer of the stack that you hear the most about in the press and in podcasts. Your leaders are telling you to implement AI to improve your workflows and to become more efficient. This is where we see the agents that allow us to automate processes, that do that human ETL that Jitesh referenced, creating value by doing things faster, allowing knowledge workers to provide more strategic value to your company. And then we have core agents that are developed sometimes internally or by an agent framework or platform. We have industry agents at the top of the stack. Industry agents are often developed internally, developed by consultants. They're sometimes long forward-deployed engineer engagements before you can start driving value for your specific industry. And then we also have the need for an agent control tower. This is quickly becoming an industry standard term where we have observability and control of our agentic infrastructure. We also have traditional interfaces to AI. It's not just agents that are interacting with our AI, of course, it's humans. We have chat interfaces from things like ChatGPT. We have multimodal interfaces with images, video. We have new connectivity to models through things like A to A, where agents can speak with each other, MCP that allow models to connect into other data sources. And finally, and this is often overlooked, but a critical part of the systems of action layer for a real agentic enterprise implementation is a more traditional analytics ecosystem, Spark, Azure ML, SageMaker, connected into your system of action. That layer is the foundation for our success. Now we'll move to the bottom of the stack and we'll start with some stats. You heard some of this from Jitesh. AI agents can only see 15 to 30% of enterprise knowledge. That's because the data layer has traditionally been made up of two different types of data. We have our foundation models that were primarily trained on unstructured data, public web content. And then you see on the right side of the stack, we have structured data that's the principal data source for a traditional analytics ecosystem. This is where I spent most of my career, developing analytic systems for complex enterprise data sets. This is carefully structured, curated data. Sometimes this data also includes a data lake or a lake house, where you have some combination of unstructured and structured data. But even with these two data sets put together, we still see that 70 to 90% of your enterprise data is in PDFs, scanned documents, images, Slack threads, contracts. This data is not accessible to most agentic workflows. And Gartner agrees that almost 90% of business data is unstructured. Only 10% is ever analyzed or operationalized. So the key takeaway here is you simply cannot, your company cannot be successful in deploying an agentic enterprise without unlocking the massive set of knowledge and foundational knowledge that you all have as the stewards of enterprise content management systems. We can, and this is CommunityLIVE, we as an ECM community can provide the platform that enables the first AI native data and content fabric. So let's see how this all comes together. In addition to the core data that's provided by ECM systems, many of you manage process orchestration with events, workflows, application integrations. It's key to integrate that knowledge to power your agentic enterprise. And you see on the right, we need an AI platform that brings all this data together. Graph RAG, a context graph, open APIs. All of this data together is what creates the blueprint for a content-powered agentic enterprise. And what I'm really excited about, and we were talking backstage just before we started here, this in many ways is a celebration of what we've done as an ECM community and what we've worked on the last 2 years at Hyland. When you break down these 3 layers of the stack, this is exactly what we've developed in our Content Innovation Cloud architecture. And we'll walk through some of the incredible power at each layer of the stack. Let's start with the top of the stack. Our enterprise-grade trusted agent mesh. This now comes with a control tower for observability, for lifecycle management. It also has the core agents that Hyland provides for things like data extraction, orchestration. We integrate Hyland Automate into this layer of the stack. And you'll hear from Mike shortly, and you saw some of these examples from Jitesh, about industry-specific agents that are included in the industry's first enterprise agent mesh. Second, moving to the middle of the layer of the stack, we have the enterprise context engine. This is where enrichment and context is provided to the data layer. We talked about this last year at CommunityLIVE, and today we're announcing the ECE as GA, including industry-specific ontologies and constructs that leverage AI to access your metadata, your content, your workflows, to build ontologies that aren't just industry-specific, but AI-generated ontologies that are specific to your business, that understand the relationships between the data sets that you've carefully curated in your ECM systems. Finally, at the bottom of the stack, the foundation of the content-powered agentic enterprise. We see how Hyland's core competencies at the data layer, including intelligent document processing, the ability of Content Federation Service to integrate additional data sources, Hyland's core ECM platforms. These capabilities are all a part of the broader CIC stack, but we're also announcing these capabilities as available as an AI-native headless content repository. Remember the open and modular notion that we talked about in the core principles. You can connect to a broader analytic ecosystem through MCP, through open APIs, through CFS, all with governance and security from Hyland built in. So with that, I have a call to action for everybody here as the stewards of the ECM community, and it's simple. Go have a conversation with your chief data officer. Go have a conversation with a data scientist at your company. If you have a chief AI architect, go have a conversation with him or her. If there's one takeaway, it's that AI lives, breathes, and eats the type of data that you manage in ECM systems. You are the stewards of the largest untapped data source in the world. And many of the most valuable technology companies in the world, who you're reading in the news every day about at those top layers of the stack, they're dying for access to this data. You shouldn't give it to them, but you do have a responsibility to use this data for yourself. Harness that power. Create competitive differentiation for your organization. Use your moat. Build your market cap. Be a data hero for your organization. Treat more patients. Make more money. I'm going to take this call to action right now by inviting our CPO to the stage, because I have a ton of awesome data in Hyland ECM platforms. And I would love Mike to show us all the cool things that we can do with it. Mike Campbell.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Tim. Let's put Tim's content to work, shall we? And to do that, let's focus on the top layer of the Content Innovation Cloud. These icons represent content-powered agentic industry solutions. We're building upon Hyland's deep industry expertise, built over 30 years of managing the content, the workflows, the decisions, and the regulatory nuances that are specific to your industry. And we're embedding that directly into purpose-built agentic solutions to drive faster and smarter outcomes. These solutions are powered by the enterprise context engine, the AI-ready context that's enriched by industry-specific ontologies. They're orchestrated by the agent mesh that routes the right work to the right actor at the right time. And these agents can be trusted. Every agent carries an agent passport. This is a governed identity that declares what it can do, what data it can access, and what approval it has. And the agent control tower provides real-time observability, auditability, and kill switches. Nothing gets deployed without it. Across every industry, these solutions will accelerate mission-critical work, but always with people in control. In healthcare, many of you are already seeing the impact of the solutions that we delivered late last year. And as you can see here, there are many more solutions on the roadmap. No matter the industry or the use case, content-powered agentic industry solutions from Hyland are unlocking new levels of productivity, they're reducing risk, and they're driving better decisions. And today, right here, right now, we're going to see that impact across the highlighted use cases. So we're going to start in healthcare with a look at the agentic hospital. And we're also going to do a bit of a deeper dive on the enterprise context engine. And to demonstrate that, please join me in welcoming to the stage Colleen Alber. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Mike. And goodness gracious, am I grateful to be here with all of you and to share what we've been working on at Hyland. So today I'm going to share how Hyland's Content Innovation Cloud, alongside an on-base foundation, helps healthcare organizations move from managing documents to delivering better patient care faster. Because let's face it, healthcare doesn't have an information problem. It has a context problem. We have the patient data, but it's disconnected. It's overwhelming, and it lacks meaning in the moment it's needed. So what you're about to see is what happens when that changes, and how streamlined patient referrals lead to better clinical outcomes. Our story today is a tale of two hospitals. We have Sunfield Regional Medical Center, a small community clinic, and then we have Major Metropolitan Hospital in the big city. Over at Sunfield, Mary Ann McKinley is 41 years old. She came in this morning with a tight chest and short of breath. And the speed of this referral directly impacts how quickly she gets answers. And while it's not an emergency, in this moment, the speed of the referral directly impacts Mary's care.
Let's take a look at it, Colleen.
Come on over. All right. As hospital staff at Sunfield, it's my job to fulfill the medical records request. What used to take hours of human ETL, hunting across systems, determining what documents apply, making sure nothing gets missed, now takes mere minutes with Hyland's agentic release of information. What once took hours is now automatically ready to go. You'll notice here our priority agent has intelligently moved Mary's request to the top and marked it as urgent, meaning that urgency is no longer something that staff might miss or must determine. Our agent was able to look at the request and identify chest pain. And now that work is already done. So let's take a look at the request so that Mary can get scheduled over at Major Metro as quickly as possible. You'll notice that her physician, Dr. Simon Tam, has requested all records from 25 and 26 be sent over to the receiving hospital, which is Major Metro. So let's take a look and review the documents. And this is a major moment. Why? Because the agent, not a human, but the agent has collected everything requested. And not just from on-base, but federated across systems. What used to take hours of searching and guesswork is now already done. We're also alerted to something important. In this case, our release of information agent has automatically added a document outside of our requested date range to the packet. In this case, it understood that an office visit from 2023 contained a note about chest tightness and difficulty breathing. which means that now this document, which is critical to Mary's care, has been automatically added. This is the enterprise context engine at work.
And this is a super important point, right? If we'd relied on traditional approaches, it's very likely we would have missed that document. But the enterprise context engine understands several things. It understands the patient, it understands the document, it understands the situation, and it understands the hospital's policy on the release of information, right?
Exactly right. And if you think about it, this document could be critical in determining what's next for Mary's care. This is the power of understanding and evaluating context, not just conditions. So at this stage, we have packaged and collected all of our documents. We have generated a referral cover sheet, and we're ready to send this packet outside of OnBase over to the receiving hospital. All right, so let's shift to the receiving side over at Major Metropolitan Hospital. And now they've just received 81 pages of Mary's medical life. What used to take human effort to separate, to classify, to index, if it even happened at all, now happens intelligently and automatically with Hyland's intelligent medical records. What was once a single image file or PDF is now 10 discrete documents, confidently classified. You'll notice here that our agent even gives us the reason for the content type selection. Now, behind the scenes, our extraction agents have been hard at work, pulling the patient data, matching it against the receiving system. But there's still a couple items that we need to validate and review. In this particular case, there are not one, but two, if you can believe it, two Dr. David Lynch's over at Major Metro. And we know this because we queried Epic via FHIR. Yet, our clinician routing agent understands the cardiology context here and confidently suggests the right physician. So we accept. And what you're all witnessing, what you're all seeing, is so much more than just OCR and text extraction. This is agentic document execution that understands context. Now, part of this packet is lab results. Typically some of the most difficult data to capture. But thanks to intelligent clinical results extraction, not anymore. Now we're able to grab all of this now structured data and send it to Epic via HL7. And in a case where our agent is unsure or lacks just a little bit of confidence, it'll flag for our review, and I click to accept and submit. And now Mary's records have been received, structured, and routed. So last, I'm going to step into the shoes of the cardiology treatment team in the office of Dr. David Lynch. And I've just opened up Mary's record within our Hyland clinician window. And I have a complete patient view. I'm alerted to those new documents that we just got as part of our referral packet. We see them all here. And I also am presented with an AI-generated summary that includes Mary's medical history and some of her most recent visits, and we're surfacing highlights from a cardiac perspective. So now that I have an understanding of the case at hand, the next step is determining what to do. Well, that's where our agentic policy guide comes into play. I can ask treatment guideline questions directly against organizational policies to get answers. And the guidance I receive is clear, and it's grounded, and this is huge, it is grounded in Major Metro's clinical procedures, national treatment guidelines, and Mary's patient data. And now I can review and determine the next step. And this is that moment where it all comes together, that what was once just content and data and information is now represented as contextual clinical insight, supporting and guiding Mary's care team. And of course, the clinician remains in control. Our agents are simply surfacing what matters most and guiding the next best step. This is one of those show-stopping, pop the champagne, toss the confetti, thunderous applause moments. Thunderous applause moments. Right? Right? Not just for Mary, but for all of us as potential patients. So you may be out here wondering, how did all of this happen? Well, before we close, I'd like to pull back the curtain for just a moment and showcase our unique architecture, namely Hyland's strategy of applying agentic AI to a trusted content foundation powered by the enterprise context engine. Behind our AI agents is a clinical knowledge graph. Think of this like a living data model that organizes Mary's patient data and clinical guidelines as an interconnected web. So unlike traditional rigid rows and columns, we're organizing this information as part of our out-of-the-box healthcare ontology. We're organizing in the way that clinicians and all of us as humans actually think. So instead of traditional rigid database structure, we're organizing data the way clinicians' minds work. And the result of this is a real-time, queryable, AI-native content and data fabric that represents Mary's full medical life.
And it's important to point out that this doesn't have to be built from scratch. We're delivering the enterprise context engine with industry-specific ontologies for healthcare and for all of the other industries that we serve. These ontologies are informed by the deep industry expertise that we have and expose the relationships in your content. And this is what enables agents to make a meaningful impact on day one, not months and months after you deploy them, right?
Yeah. And for Mary's team, the care team, it's a complete patient view at point of care, right? Supporting their decisions and ultimately providing the best possible treatment for Mary. You know, we started our story with Mary Ann McKinley. She's 41 years old, she comes in, she's got a tight chest, and she's short of breath. And what you've just witnessed from patient referral to receipt used to take hours, handoffs, and quite frankly, a little bit of hope. Now it happens in mere minutes with guardrails, governance, completeness, and probably most importantly, confidence. When Hyland handles the healthcare content complexity, clinicians get clarity, and patients like Mary get better care. This is the impact of the content-powered agentic hospital, not just for Mary, but for all of us. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Colleen. I hope you all enjoyed that half as much as Colleen did. That demonstration was enabled by the highlighted elements here of the Content Innovation Cloud. Now, the majority of those elements, those capabilities, including the Enterprise Context Engine, including the healthcare ontology, those are available today. And some of the capabilities are still in development. They'll be available later this year, some of them early next year. But don't let that stop you. There's a tremendous opportunity to make an impact on how patient care is delivered right now. Our content-powered agentic industry solutions are also impacting the banking industry. And to demonstrate that use case, as well as provide a closer look at the enterprise agent mesh, please join me in welcoming to the stage Tess Venhoff.
Hey, Mike.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. So I am here today to show you how Hyland's Content Innovation Cloud helps banks move from document and human ETL-heavy processes to more confident lending decisions. If we think about banking today, the number one constraint isn't volume, it's efficiency, right? Too many loans are stalling out because of manual validation, follow-ups, comparison work instead of actual decisioning. But I want you all to imagine a different model where from the moment a document arrives, intelligence is at work, evaluating for completeness, policy alignment, and readiness for underwriting, because that's what Hyland delivers. With the Hyland agent mesh powered by the enterprise context engine, agents guide borrowers and prepare underwriters from the start. And the result is lower costs, faster cycles, and better decisions all at scale.
All right, let's take a look at the Agentic Bank.
Let's do it. All right, so we are going to start here as a borrower on the Blue Ruby Bank website applying for a business loan. But I just want to point out this could also begin at a bank branch with a loan officer. So right off the bat, we can see on the left here a list of documents we need to upload, and we also have access to a loan assistant that will ensure we have a complete application when all is said and done. All that I need to do right now, though, is just browse out and find those documents that I compiled for my submission. Everything appears to be in order. So I'm going to click continue, and this is when the agent mesh gets to work. So again, as soon as a document arrives, the right agent is activated automatically. So we have agents confirming intake while another sorts the files to make sure that they land in the right place. We also have specialized agents that are checking for quality, like readability and signatures. And finally, making sure that everything is in place so that when all is said and done, we have a complete application. These agents are able to run in parallel, they share context, and they only slow down or involve a human when confidence drops. Now, that process you just saw traditionally would have taken hours because of human ETL, but our agents completed it in minutes, helping eliminate bottlenecks. And one of those bottlenecks, and actually the #1 cause of loan delays, are missing or misunderstood documents. But as you can see, our agent mesh has already identified those missing documents for us, which means that here, in the moment, I can actually remedy that issue by grabbing the actual complete documents and getting those uploaded. So again, we have a complete application that goes off to the bank, and we're avoiding delays downstream. So now that we've really got everything in order, we can let those agents get back to work. So at this point, we have agents that are going to capture key details. They can, align documents with the right part of the application. They're also able to compare documents to make sure we don't have any inconsistencies or gaps. And then probably my favorite part is the borrower take all of that information and complete the application for me. So there's no rekeying of data that I have to do. Ultimately, my last step here is just reviewing the key details that they have to show me, checking off this box, and this is ready to go. So when this application is marked ready, it's not just complete, it's packaged up for confident review by our underwriters, which I'll show you what that looks like now. So I'm going to click over to my underwriting workbench, and this is an app that we built to surface our in-process applications and accompanying insights, but keep in mind that this could just as easily be surfaced in your chosen line of business application. I'm going to do a quick refresh here, and here is the application that we just submitted for James Mitchell. So let's take a closer look. We can see here right off the bat that the submission appears strong, right? We've got a list of strengths here in green, and then to the right, some potential risks that need our review. What's important here is it's not just the insights that we're seeing, though, it's how the agents got there. So when it flags a risk, it tells you why. And if we take the policy evaluation agent as an example, they're looking at these applications the same way a seasoned underwriter would. So they're weighing risks against mitigating strengths, but grounding everything in the bank's lending policies. So when it flags something, it explains why. Now at this point in time, we've really only let agents take a look at these documents. So to take a look for myself, I'm going to click Documents, and we can see right off the bat the documents that have the risk indicators are noted here with the business plan selected. We can look to the right to see those specific insights, and we also have access to an underwriting assistant that would allow us to ask questions of this particular document, like we saw Colleen do in her demo. But ultimately, anything that the agents can verify objectively is confirmed here. All that's left for us is our professional judgment. So for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and complete this review. And you'll notice some of these boxes are already checked off because they were auto-verified by our agents. So for me, I just need to check off the underwriter items. But this provides us with a wonderful balance, right? We have speed where certainty exists and human judgment where it matters the most. And then I'm just going to paste a note in here and Send this forward. And now with readiness confirmed, this loan is moving forward with clarity and confidence, and we're setting the stage for faster execution downstream.
Okay, so we've seen multiple agents at work. That part is clear here, but the audience may be wondering, how do you control when agents engage and when do they not, right? We don't want to inject agents at every single step because might be unnecessary, could become costly. So how should we think about that?
Yes, so that is exactly where orchestration comes in. So the agent mesh uses your organization's policies to act as guardrails to understand when an agent would add value and when it doesn't. So instead of just inserting an agent everywhere, we're calling the right agent at the right time. So if you'll bear with me, just one more minute, I'm gonna show you what that looks like now as a solution builder. So I'm in my admin view of the business lending solution. And you can see here a little sneak peek behind the scenes of our agent mesh. Each one of these agents is purpose-built, they work together, and again, they only step in when they add value. And the piece that brings this all together is our routing and orchestration agent. So this is where decisions are made. This orchestration agent determines when to invoke AI, when we can rely on deterministic workflow, and when we need to involve a human. And it's all based on how it interprets these loan packets in real time. So I want you to think of these various scenarios not as rigid paths, but more so how the system recognizes and responds to these loan packets as they arrive. And you might be surprised to know that creating these scenarios is easier than you might expect. So I'm going to back out here and just quickly create a new orchestration agent. And I'm going to jumpstart things by using one of the bank's policies. And just so you know what I'm talking about, this is the document intake and readiness policy that we'll be leveraging. So we'll come back out here. And I also just want to note that although I'm going to leverage a demo document here, we could, if we wanted to leverage a document within a Hyland repository, access that via Content Federation. But like I said, I've got one set aside for our demo here. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to grab some sample document sets that we can test when this is configured. Now, as soon as I click continue, the system gets to work identifying those common situations, right? Things like missing documents, policy exceptions, even complete submissions. And it outlines how it will use that as guardrails to see how the agents will interact. And what's amazing about this is that instead of starting from scratch, right, we're able to use what the business has already defined. And then from here, we can refine, how the system responds for each scenario, or even let the system decide for us. But while we're here, I just want to briefly test how these scenarios work. So I have that sample test packet that I uploaded. I'm going to click Run Test. And ultimately, this is going to provide a confidence score for each one of these sample documents, which is essentially telling me how confident the system is that it identified that packet correctly. And anytime it dips below our threshold, which I have set here to 80, is when it would actually route to a human for review. I know that was a lot and it was quick, but our ultimate goal here with agentic workflows is just to make them easier to build, easier to scale, and easier to govern. Really, we want you all to define your outcomes, and Hyland will manage the complexity. So you can think of this as an evolution of ECM. OnBase, Alfresco, Perceptive, Nuxio, they will remain your system of record, but then the agent mesh will apply intelligence to how work is recognized, routed, and resolved, which in our lending example means we're helping borrowers early enough, we are providing our underwriters with better insight, and we're helping these lenders move faster. This is the content-powered agentic bank.
Tess, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So most of what you just saw demonstrated there is also available today, including the agent mesh. Next quarter, we will deliver the intelligent loan operations solution and the checklist agent that you saw demonstrated. Now, today, many of you in the audience are using Hyland technology to automate your AP workflows. This is a use case that's critical for every company around the world in every industry. And to demonstrate agentic accounts payable with a particular focus on agent observability and the control tower, please join me in welcoming to the stage Matisha Ladawala.
Hi, Mike. Thank you. I'm going to show you how Hyland's Agentic accounts payable solution shifts AP teams from managing invoices to overseeing outcomes with faster cycle times, better decisions, and intelligence that scales with trust. Let me introduce you to Harborview Living. They're a senior luxury living center with 15 locations near Boston, Massachusetts. They get 12,000 invoices per month. They have 14 AP processors. That's 800 invoices per employee per month, all manually keyed, coded, and reconciled, until now. And accounts payable is not just a back-end function at Harborview Living. It's what keeps the kitchen stocked, and everything running smoothly for the 15 campuses, all the residents that live at the 15 campuses.
Let's take a look at it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, let's start in the role of the AP specialist here, looking at a dashboard that highlights invoice activity, surfaces anomalies, and prioritizes tasks. Right away, we see that of the 248 invoices that have come in today, 235 were automatically handled by agents. That's 95% straight-through processing of invoices from vendors, with only a small handful of exceptions for us that need our attention. Let's start by looking at what was automated. You'll see that a majority of these have automatically been sent to the ERP system. Our intelligent document processing agent and our invoice agents have extracted data, deduplicated invoices, and matched to vendor records in the ERP system. Drilling into the invoice here, we can see that our invoice review agent has explained everything. This is explainable AI. It explains why the posting decision was made, what it matched to, and even the confidence level. This is explainable AI and a lot less work for the AP team. Let's move on to the next one in our queue. And you'll see this is a PO-based invoice. Now, although this is a PO-based invoice, the purchase order number was not provided. And you'll see that our agent didn't just stop and fail. It leveraged the enterprise context engine to recommend a purchase order number. And all I need to do is just click the assign button, and it will assign the PO number to it. This used to take 20 minutes, and now it's done in seconds. Next up on my list is a non-PO-based invoice. And what we need to do here is, because there was no PO, we need to figure out which departments are actually paying for each line item. Hyland's Agentic general ledger coding agent has predicted which general ledger codes to assign to each line item, and all I need to do is approve it. No institutional knowledge required. I can even look at the GL coding sheet and see that everything worked as I expected. Instead of all this taking a day to research, exceptions have only become a small queue. This is content-powered agentic invoice processing.
Okay, so this is what moving from human ETL to agentic automation should feel like, right? The system is doing the work while we as people remain in control. Now, we've seen how agents handle the work. How can we measure the outcomes?
Well, let's step into the shoes of the finance manager. Right here, we get real-time insights into invoices processed, how fast, and by whom, agents as well as humans. We can, without digging, see metrics like invoice cycle time, first pass match rate, and the volume and accuracy of invoices processed by agents. Right away, you can see that our AP agent mesh is improving cash control and discount capture rate, and is so much more than just automation. Let's look at one of the tasks on the AP Manager's dashboard. This is a vendor statement that's missing an invoice. In a manual AP world, volume and variability mean that invoices get missed, duplicated, overpaid. And all this leads to a painful month-end reconciliation exercise. But here, the statement reconciliation agent has actually identified the missing invoice and even drafted an email to the vendor requesting it, changing what used to be a stalled task into a quick review. You can now see how managers move from chasing transactions to managing cash and even improving vendor relationships.
Excellent. So we've seen automation, we've seen visibility into outcomes, but that's really only half the story. The other half of the story is trust. So how can we ensure that these agents are governed? How can we give folks the confidence to scale AI effectively across their organization?
Great question, Mike. This is where the agent control tower comes in. I'm going to now step into the shoes of the IT agent admin. As an IT agent admin, your biggest fear isn't that the agent stops working. It's that it hallucinates in production. And the control tower gives you a bird's eye view of your entire AI workforce, from development to live operations. Starting up top here, you can see the agent lifecycle. Right now, we're managing 129 agents, of which some are in development, others are in production. This ensures that no rogue AI gets deployed to your environments without first passing through your security and safety protocols. Moving to the agent stats section, we see here that 40 agents are waiting for a human-in-the-loop interaction. This is your safety net. It ensures that if the AI hits an edge case, it doesn't guess, it escalates. Now, you'll notice that the AP processing mesh is just one of many meshes that's deployed here at Harborview Living. The AP mesh has IT metrics such as autonomy and latency, and business metrics such as average documents per day. This ensures that if any of these metrics were to dip, the IT admin knows long before the finance manager were to call. So drilling into the AP mesh here, we can see not just that it ran, but that it's working as expected. So if somebody asks, why did this invoice take 5 minutes to process, or why was this PO number assigned to this invoice, you can just drill into an individual run and see all the reasoning. Every action is grounded and explainable in data, documents, and context. And you can see the handoff. Intelligent agents handing off to the next one in the process. This visualizes the mesh. Intelligent agents passing the baton seamlessly to ensure the highest level of accuracy. Now, like our employees, our agents also should not have access to anything we don't want them to have access to. This is where the agent passport comes in. This is a definitive governance layer that specifies identification, rigorous guardrails, and permissions to ensure that every agent works with the highest level of trust and safety. With this view, IT now moves from being a support ticket taker to managing the overall efficiency and accuracy of the company's digital workforce. And the agent control tower is what makes agentic automation safe to scale. Mike, we started with Harborview Living, 15 campuses, 12,000 invoices, 14 people trying to keep it all together. And what you just saw is content-powered agentic AP solution. It frees up your AP team to focus on strategy, outcomes, and relationships, so they can ultimately deliver a hassle-free, well-stocked home for every Harborview resident.
Matisha, thank you very much.
That's it.
So once again, most of what you've just seen is already available today, including the agent control tower. And we'll deliver the agent passports later this summer, and then by the end of the year, we'll deliver the agentic AP invoicing solution. Now, all of these incredible demos highlight how critical governed enterprise content is in a content-powered agentic enterprise. And because core content management is so critical, we continue to invest in a robust roadmap for all of these products. Across the board, we're making UX and functional improvements. In perceptive content, we're enabling federation with the Content Innovation Cloud. In Alfresco, we're improving APS model testing for admins. In Nuxio, we're providing a choice of hyperscalers and search providers that best fit your business needs. And in August, we're delivering OnBase 26.1 with agentic automation directly inside of OnBase workflows. Then in Q4, we're adding a step-by-step guided upgrade process to the cloud update service to make upgrades of OnBase even easier. And I'm thrilled to share with you that early in 2027, we're introducing another exciting enhancement to OnBase 26.1. Every day in OnBase, hundreds of thousands of users execute mission-critical workflows. Now soon those workflows might be reimagined as we bring the power of the enterprise context engine and natural language interactions directly to OnBase. Users will be able to easily ask questions about their documents. They'll be able to get answers, gain deeper insights, all in the UI that they're already familiar with. So we're targeting to roll this out first in the Unity and web clients, and then we'll quickly expand to other OnBase interfaces, and then to the other core content management tools as well. Beyond core ECM, there's a rich pipeline of enhancements across the product. Now, you've seen some of those featured in the demos, but as you can see on the screen here, there's so much more coming. In fact, too much for me to cover right here, right now. In the breakouts throughout the conference, you'll have the chance to hear all about the advancements that are coming to industry-specific ontologies, to knowledge discovery, agent skills, vibe coding of agentic solutions, agentic evaluations to improve accuracy, and so much more. And as you've already seen, there's a robust pipeline of new content-powered agentic solutions that are coming for every industry that we serve. In addition to the solutions in healthcare, I'll also note that we'll deliver major advancements to our enterprise imaging portfolio with diagnostic radiology and pathology and a next-generation VNA. And across the entire portfolio, we're diligently ensuring that your data remains secure in the face of cyber threats. We're expecting a variety of compliance certifications later this year, including ISO 27001, ISO 42001, and Cyber Essentials Plus. And even more compliance is planned for the first half of 2027. And at the same time, we're continuing to expand the options that you have to deploy our software, both globally and across multiple clouds. In fact, today we're announcing Microsoft Azure support for both the Content Innovation Cloud and OnBase. And this is in addition to our current support on AWS. We expanded geographic coverage from North America to Central Europe late last year, and just last week, we opened up our latest data center in Sydney to serve the APAC region. And by the end of this year, we'll be bringing our technology to the Middle East as well. So we've covered the content-powered agentic enterprise, and Tim's shown you the technology required to drive it. You've seen demonstrations that unlock productivity and better decisions, and we've shown you a roadmap that will unlock even more value in the next 12 months. But you may be out there asking yourself, what do I do next? How do I get started on the journey to a content-powered agentic enterprise? Well, I'm thrilled to tell you that Hyland can help. We have deep expertise working with companies just like yours to pragmatically adopt these new technologies and drive meaningful value at every step along the way. And based on that, we've developed a playbook that charts a value and adoption roadmap to the content-powered agentic enterprise. This approach considers your existing technology footprint. It factors in your unique challenges and business opportunities and assesses your readiness for various paths forward. Hyland is here to support your transformation journey safely, pragmatically, and with value unlocked at every step along the way. You can use the QR code here for a brief assessment to get started, but I recommend that you also engage with our value assessment team here at the conference. And you can also see the impact that the value and adoption roadmap had on one of our customers in the session tomorrow at 10:15. As you can see, our teams are working very hard, relentlessly executing on delivering compelling innovations. And we want to partner with you to ensure that we're solving your most pressing problems. You can scan this code here to sign up for our feedback program. This includes everything from discovery and research to beta program participation. We'd love to hear from you. With that, thank you very much for your time today and for your commitment to Hyland products. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Please join me in welcoming Jitesh back up. We're going to take a look at some real-world customer examples of the content-powered agentic enterprise.
Nicely done. I was enjoying the demo so much I forgot I had to get back up on stage. Another round of applause for Mike, Colleen, Tess, and Matisha. We have, as I mentioned earlier, two visionaries that have a couple of things that are uniquely in common with them and me. One of them is that the very first meeting when I met these individuals separately, we had an immediate understanding and shared vision of the enormous power and potential of unlocking the value in enterprise content in unstructured data. The other thing is because we had such great alignment on vision, both of these leaders, for those paying attention, were kind enough to join me on stage over the last couple of years to share their plans and how they're going to innovate. And over the last few years, we have been collectively innovating. So now, please join me in a warm welcome to welcome Partha Srinivasa from Erie Insurance, Chief Information Officer, and Dr. Shankar Sridharan, Chief Clinical Information Officer for the Greater Ormond Street Hospital in London, the Children's Hospital in London. Partha, Shankar, come on up.
Hi, Jitesh.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I should say welcome back to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
They're still blown away by the demos, so they're still processing. Thank you so much for the partnership and for joining us today to share your vision for the Agentic Hospital, the Agentic Insurer. But before we get started, perhaps you could share a bit about yourselves and your organization. Maybe we can start with you.
Thanks, Jitesh. Good afternoon, everyone, again. I don't know how many of you know about Erie Insurance, but I'm happy to say that, like Jitesh said, this is our second time together. Jitesh, when he joined as a CEO 2 years back, I shared the same keynote panel with him, talking about what we are doing with Hyland and some of the innovations, what we have been doing in the last 2 years. You're going to hear it from me as part of this conversation. So Erie Insurance, we are a $13+ billion insurer, one of the largest. We are the 10th largest home insurer, 11th largest auto insurer, and 12th largest business insurer here in the US. My background has been in the insurance industry for the last 30 years. I've been fortunate to service or play the role of CIO for companies like Farmers Insurance, Zurich Insurance Group, Tokyo Marine, and a few others. So I've been fortunate. And talking about Erie Insurance, we are a 100-year-old company with over 14,000 independent agents who support us with 7 million plus policies in the company. One of the key philosophies of our company is all about above all in service. We talk all about how do we service our customers the best way possible. Interestingly, none of you would have seen a TV ad from us. We don't do marketing. And our word of mouth is the marketing. The way how we service our customers is what brought us to what we are. We are the largest regional carrier, and as you can see, we are only doing business in 12 states plus DC. But for a company of only 12 states and that, calling ourselves to be in the top 10 or top 11 is something pretty impressive for the type of company what we're growing to. So thank you for many of those people who are in the room who are Erie Insurance customers and those who are in our footprint states, learn a little bit more about Erie Insurance. Thank you.
Awesome. Partha, one additional question for you. CIOs have many different remits. Can you just share a bit about what responsibilities roll up to you in particular?
Thank you. So I have dual responsibilities. So my responsibility is I'm EVP of technology, so as you can see, CIO. In addition to that, I'm also responsible as the EVP for enterprise services. In other words, call it as the COO type of a role. So I had all of the horizontal responsibilities across the company, and what it allows me to do is to transform the company. So basically the business strategy and the innovation and the transformation, what we're doing. And more importantly, what it allows us to do is drive better operational efficiency in our organization.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shankar, please share a bit about yourself. And Gosh, of course.
Good afternoon, CommunityLIVE. So I'm Dr. Shankar Sridharan. I have an unusual job. I'm a baby heart doctor. I'm also the National Clinical Lead for Artificial Intelligence, which might sound weird. So I am the Clinical Lead for AI for the UK government for the NHS. So my role is to try and get AI into the front lines of all healthcare. Why? Because we need help. We want to do good. And I think we share something in common in this room, in that we want to do good. We want to do better. And so I can do quite a lot of good with a stethoscope, but actually we can harness the power of AI to deliver smarter, safer, kinder care. So I work at Great Ormond Street Hospital. It's the oldest English-speaking children's hospital in the Western world. It's unusual in that we don't have an accident and emergency department. We have 3 intensive care units, and we direct admit to every ward. And we look after some of the sickest children in the country and parts of Europe. And also we have transfers to the Middle East and other countries. And that's a really amazing thing to be able to do. And we do it with all of your help and the help of Hyland. I've said before that I can't run my hospital without Hyland, because it's about intelligence. The demos we saw were fabulous, and what they show is that you can get rid of lag. No one cares about a blood test. I care about the result, and I care about what's next after that. And so, with very smart colleagues, we've led the largest global evaluation of Gen AI. And we've shown, for example, that using Gen AI, we can see more patients. It scaled across England, and we could see 9,285 extra patients every day with a tool that listens to a conversation between a doctor and a clinician. But that was yesterday. So my role is to scale that sort of capability, and kind of what's next is how to really unlock healthcare. And kind of that's why I'm here. Lovely to meet you all.
Since you've already started speaking about what's next, would love for you to share your vision for a content-powered agentic hospital.
Yeah, so in my national role, so for the government, we have loads of companies coming to us to say, we've got this agent. And you kind of chat to these people and you realize they've got no governance, no security, no safety. There's no stability. So, for example, we tend to be quite measured people, and trust is really important. We move at the speed of trust. So we need a platform, because we want to put this stuff in safely and securely and reliably, because it is going to power healthcare. And so, just a slight tangent, I think the focus of AI in healthcare has been wrong. It's been on clinical care. And that is stuck with regulation and difficulty. It has to be, we have to get things right. But the focus needs to be on the back end, running a hospital. Kind of clinical is really important, but we need to focus on operational and clinically adjacent. So HR, procurement, finance, billing, because those systems are so inefficient. We saw an amazing example of a referral today. And that has real human impact. Imagine if we could do that in seconds and we can move patients in quicker. So we think that actually that's the future. So working with Hyland, we're keen to build an agentic hospital, and we're doing that. And these things are transferable across every industry, but it will be done safely, securely, and reliably so that we can do what we really care about, which is to do greater good.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where I was in London with Shankar, and almost immediately we both were in violent agreement that the opportunity is the non-clinical workflows. Automating the mundane, ensuring that your very valuable doctors and nurses are focused on patient care accelerated patient outcomes, elevated patient care.
And we've kind of been lied to, I think, because the focus has been wrong. It's been on structured data. Now, in healthcare, I think data is corrupted at the bedside. Let me explain. At 3 o'clock in the morning, your doctors and nurses are tired. Do you really think they're going to enter 50 structured data elements in? And then we think, hang on, but 90% of our stuff is in letters, notes. The letter I dictate after clinic is written for both myself and the patient. It's beautiful. It contains what happens to the patient, what's next, the plan. And until today, we're blind to that stuff. Imagine what we can do. It's like we've been sitting on an Everest mountain of data. The data doesn't interest me, though. It's the insight and the wisdom. And we've seen from the demos today that this capability can show us what we haven't seen. And we can really make care better. And I think that's the massive shift now. And that's why you need context at the heart of this. You need a mind palace. You need content. And I think that's something unique about Hyland that's going to change the game completely.
I love how you're re-envisioning healthcare for the entire United Kingdom, starting with Greater Ormond Street Hospital. Partha, how are you thinking about re-envisioning the agentic insurer? Please share a bit about your vision.
Thank you. So let me start with saying that, you know what, when we look into our company, we talk about agentic insurer with human touch. And that's an important aspect of our culture, is that we want to have human touch in every aspect of the work, what we do, and I'm sure it's pretty consistent with many of you. First of all, when we talk about insurance companies, AI is not new for insurance companies. We've been using AI, technologies for probably, 20, 30 years. But that's different versions of, it's more of predictive modeling, and actuaries used to use it, and et cetera, because in insurance is a highly regulated business, which means the information, what we are receiving and what we're telling, it should be deterministic. Where Gen AI has come in now, and obviously with the Agentic, is it's pushing the boundaries for insurance companies to the next level. And that's where we're moving into Agentic capabilities. Many examples, what you saw in healthcare and bank and et cetera, you can sort of relate the same examples in the insurance industry too. We started our journey into the agentic space roughly around 2 years back, started talking about it. The most important thing for us, when I talk about agentic insurer, is the first thing is basically insurance companies has been very reactive and transactional in the past. And where we are pushing the boundaries right now with agentic insurer is of how can we be more proactive. So push the information more proactively so that we can make some quality decisions. Make that information more intelligent. So about pushing the intelligence, it's not just about the data or the information, but how do we make the data and information based on the context? We talked a lot about contextual, about pushing that so that it is more intelligent, so it's more relevant for our people to provide the type of services what we're talking about. Another one I talk about specifically in an agentic insurer is about the type of engagement. Many times the past engagements have been more reactive. When a transaction happens, we get engaged with you. It's basically during renewals, during changes, endorsements, new business, and et cetera. But how do you provide that continuous engagement? So ensuring these agents are always running and ensuring that we have a continuous engagement so that we are proactively managing that. And that is the core of what I call as an agentic insurer is basically number one is proactive, number two is intelligent, and number three is continuous engagement. And within the context of every single value chain in the insurance industry, you can apply these themes and you can see valuable insights, on how we provide the service to our customers.
Elevated patient care, accelerated outcomes, elevated and accelerated insurance claims processing, policy issuance, all from the resulting intelligence and automation. One thing that I found amazing about when we met is there was an immediate understanding of the strategic importance of enterprise content, the unstructured data within both of your organizations. That's not always the case. Oftentimes I connect with CIOs and they're thinking AI and they're thinking data and analytics. They're not necessarily thinking the answer is in their content management system. Can you share a bit about how you connected? Maybe we can start with you, Partha.
Thank you. So when we look into insurance companies, there are two different types of data, structured data and unstructured data. And if you look into majority of our companies, 10 to 15% of our data is what I would call it as structured data. Nearly 85% of our information is buried into those unstructured data. For a long period of time, these unstructured data were used more like a document repository. Every single email, the examples what you saw, the documents what we receive, the proofs what we receive, evidences what we receive, the medical records what we receive, the call records what we basically have conversation. All of them were attached to a structured data, and it is just more of an associated information. What we lacked at the time is technology which can bring the insight from that, from the unstructured data, so that we can orchestrate certain workflow. We can bring some intelligence out so that we can create some insights and take actions. The most important thing is today we have technology available at an extreme speed, and that's the most important thing. It's not just about a technology available, but it is also about the pace in which how we can do it. As the information, as the transaction is happening, you saw some examples today, we were able to extract insights, and that drove certain workflow. You saw the examples earlier today with the demo, that there were workflow which said that I got this information, but this is unclear, let the human be involved in that one to make a call. Or I saw this, so we had to take another action in a bank to basically say that I need certain pay stubs or salary information for you to do underwriting and et cetera. Those are powerful. We lack that information. In the past, those would have been a transaction. That would be referred to an underwriter. An underwriter would take a call and they'll send an email, and it will take days or months or sometimes many minutes to process it. Today, that can be a lot more proactive because as you're receiving that information, you can, in near real time, you can process it. And as the conversation is happening, you can get those insights and et cetera. That is very powerful. And that's what content-powered agentic solution is going to help us do, is to extract that insights and take actionable, steps immediately right at that time when it's needed.
Now, Partha, you have a pretty substantial organization. These are things that your organization can build itself, yet you chose to partner with Hyland. Can you share a bit about your reasoning and logic behind that?
Thank you. This question, by the way, other than the fact that Jitesh is a close friend of mine, hence I decided I can't say that. That's not the reason for it. The most important reason is basically this debate always goes in the industry. Do we build it? Because the technologies are available now to build it ourselves, or should we buy it? I'm an insurance company. My focus is to service my customer for insurance, and technology is something what you do good. And when we talk about extracting insights out of these unstructured data or content, we need the power. If each one of us starts solving the problem, we're going to be spending 100 times the same problem again and again. Instead, have an expert who specializes on these content to extract intelligence and provide the signals. And I think partnering with somebody to do that actually helps us because our focus is going to be more on insurance. And that's what we're going to be doing. Now, there are always going to be situations where there might be some secret sauce of each insurance companies where we may have to maintain our niche place. And that can be added on to the stuff what you're going to be providing to that. So we did debate about it a lot internally. The first reaction from many of my architects were, Partha, the technology is available. Let's go ahead and build it using Cloud or OpenAI and many LLMs and et cetera. Remember, any of those things, if you had to do it yourself, it's going to require a significant amount of investment, capital spend, and et cetera. Instead, if I can partner with somebody who can actually extract that insight, because you're already doing the work of content today, you already have all of those things in your platform, for me to extract insights was a no-brainer and a quick one.
Perfect. Thank you. Shankar, how did you, from day one when we met, of course the answer is in the enterprise content. And you developed a concept of the mind palace, which is ultimately turned into the context derived from the enterprise content. Can you share a bit about how you connected that the opportunity for AI is against your unstructured data, your enterprise content?
I hate to say it wasn't hard. And I think it's experience. And we all work in different industries. I've been at Great Ormond Street for 25 years, at every stage. So junior doctor, you call them residents, attendings, and I've been there for a long time. And it's all about connection. Look, when a patient comes to see you as a doctor, they assume you know about them, and we do. I was always amazed as a little kid how my primary care physician always knew about me, the GP. I actually know what the heart looks like for every child that I look after, which is really super weird, but nonetheless. And so doing this, you realize connection's important. And the three most important documents are my last letter, the last letter that a doctor or nurse saw them in case they saw a different team, and the operation note. And then you realize it's not the EHR, it's not all of this stuff, it's just all of this stuff is concentrated in this PDF or Word document. And if I can unlock this power, I'm a superhero now. And I can actually provide better care. So that I don't think was difficult. And I think lived experience of how the hospital runs, because we also learn how bad our organizations are, all of them, and what's clunky and what's resistant, what the friction is. And then you realize it's not that this data element, it's about a narrative, it's about a story, it's about what's wrong to help you plan what's next, what treatment you need, what the complications are, how I can mitigate them, how I can actually provide really awesome healthcare. For us also, it was a no-brainer. We're not going to build this ourselves, because we're fairly good at finding an expert. If I need an expert and opinion on the brain, I find a neurologist, and so on and so on. And if we want someone to build capability that we're going to depend upon, and Hyland has been in mission-critical, high-risk industries for ages. You already store all our patient letters and data. So that's a given. It's safe with you. But actually, the vision about not just developing siloed little agents, but a platform that's open, I think it was logical.
Well, thank you for that. I tend to agree with you. I know we're coming up on time, and we could certainly continue for another 15, 20, 30 minutes. But perhaps we have an audience here as well as online of thousands of content experts.
How about I ask you a question? What are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about? Our purpose, our corporate purpose that's been discussed as a leadership team and codified 2 years ago when I joined, was to deliver and enable life-changing value for our customers. And the kinds of examples that you are sharing, of transforming your respective industries through content in partnership with Hyland is really life-changing value. It's life-changing patient care. It's insurance coverage and peace of mind, processing claims when claims are so desperately need to be processed, funds need to be deployed. And for us to be able to partner with such critical organizations and such critical industries is what gets me up in the morning. It's what gets our global 4,000 strong Highlanders up in the morning. That's what we're excited about.
Thank you. Jitesh, you asked a question specifically about there are thousands of people who are content experts here.
That's right.
What is the key message you want to give it to them so that they can take it back to the organization, I think. And I'll tell you that, the most important thing is, the key takeaway from this conversation is the technology has come a long way. Technology is not a bottleneck anymore. The most important thing is you're all sitting on an immense amount of intelligence in unstructured data. So the most important thing, what you could take it back if you're not in this journey today, is to go back and talk to your CIO or CEO or your architects or your CTO and say the type of intelligence that is sitting in this unstructured content and the power of this tool, because a lot of people don't appreciate that yet. They still see this as a storage repository or a document repository. The information through what you have is very, very valuable. And if you take that information and apply it into your business and reimagine your business, McKinsey would call the word like rewiring your business. And the most important thing is you don't have to get everything into one platform. You saw it earlier during the conversation, what the chief technology officer and the chief product officer for Hyland were talking about. You can start now because they can integrate with a lot of information and content which are sitting across your varied system. Pull that information, you can get a lot of intelligence, and it will give immediate business value. And I say that based on what I'm already seeing. The business value can be obtained within months. And that's the power of what the tool is today there. So that's my closing comment for you.
Thank you, Parth. Shankar, any parting thoughts from you?
Yeah, in the presentations we were hearing about Agentic Hospital, Agentic Bank, Agentic Law Firm. We're essentially living in an agentic world. The biggest risk is not doing it. There's a massive opportunity cost in not leaning in. Actually, not even leaning in. We should do it now.
Yep.
we need to move beyond pilots. And so for that, you need to choose someone trusted, someone who's got your back, and someone who can really push us forwards. And I think the time's now.
Well, I will say that a lot of these amazing innovations you saw are a result of discovery and collaborating and partnership with Partha's organization, Shankar's organization. So in addition to you spending your time here, a huge thank you for the collaboration, the innovation, and the partnership with both of you and your respective teams. A huge round of applause for Partha and Shankar, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow, some incredible insights on the enormous power and opportunity that your unstructured enterprise content can realize for your respective organizations in insurance, in healthcare, and many other industries. Partha and Shankar covered this exceptionally well, but if I can really simplify it, to realize the content-powered agentic enterprise for all of you in this room starts with helping your CIO, your chief data officer, your chief digital officer, your chief AI architect, AI officer, helping them understand and establish your content management as foundational to your agentic enterprise. And the second you do that, the rest of it automatically becomes very straightforward. You saw clear examples of workflows that can be automated. Start with your existing workflows. Automate the human ETL and get prepared to have your knowledge workers and yourself focus on the high value, high ROI decisions, actions that need to be taken to accelerate your business. And I said it earlier, and I really want to emphasize it, and bring joy back to the job. Bring joy back to the job. Now today, we shared with you a content-powered agentic enterprise blueprint and the critical importance of your content management system in that architecture. We have been clear-eyed about this since we launched this vision with all of you at CommunityLIVE in 2024, bringing AI and intelligence to content, to processes, and applications. And every year, we continue to raise the bar by accelerating our pace of innovation. And this year, we shared with you several more innovations that we've launched that are now generally available. And now we have launched and are launching industry-specific agentic solutions. Over the last 2 years, we launched 25 new cloud AI and agentic services. While we were doing that, we had 45 releases of the foundational ECM technologies, critical to realizing the agentic enterprise. And we didn't just launch these new cloud AI services. We've had over 28 major updates to further enhance with greater feature richness these new cloud AI agentic services. You saw incredible demos today of existing agentic solutions that can drive productivity for your organization today. We shared with you our roadmap and commitment to continuing to invest in and drive greater features, greater capability from your ECM technologies. We're investing further in the core CIC services, and we have launched and we are launching more accelerated industry agentic solutions. With it, we recognize that we serve mission-critical regulated industries. With it, we shared with you our compliance roadmap. And of course, you heard from Partha and Shankar about how they are reimagining entire industries on the power of enterprise content. As we've innovated, as we've collaborated with our customers, our partners, and delivered these amazing innovations, we have also been recognized as the only leader for the strength of vision, depth of industry expertise, and breadth of capabilities. Not only that, we have obsessed over the last couple of years in completely transforming our customer experience. In fact, one of our 5 corporate values is literally customer success is our success. We have transformed success, support, services, and we're thrilled to share that we're now realizing, based on your feedback, best-in-class customer satisfaction scores, best-in-class cloud uptime, streamlined procurement processes to make it easy for you to get access to the innovation you need, and even IDC has recognized us for excellence in customer experience. It is for all of these reasons and more that we have the great honor of being the largest content management leader exclusively focused on enterprise content, unlocking the tremendous value in it, and realizing exceptional business outcomes for you. We have the great honor of serving 15,000 customers globally with best-in-class loyalty and an expansive several hundred strong partner network to ensure all of your successful business outcomes, successful agentic outcomes. And that is why we pioneered the content-powered agentic enterprise. 2 years ago, I was with my team. We recognized this tremendous opportunity to serve you by innovating and delivering incredible value to you. And we asked ourselves, if not us in this incredible position that we're in at our size and scale, then who? And if we don't do this now and start our own content-powered agentic transformation now, then when? And we did this because our mission is to deliver life-changing value to those that you serve, so that educators can focus less on the bureaucracy and more on the student experience, so that caseworkers aren't behind a desk but are engaged with those that need their services and assistance most, so that bank representatives are cutting more checks and creating more impactful personal milestones to their customers, to enable insurance organizations and agents to engage and provide the peace of mind and comfort of confidence with insurance coverage and get them the claims they need when they need them most. Caregivers did not go to their favorite university or college to get a degree in human ETL. They became nurses and doctors for a reason, so that they could spend their time focused on elevating and accelerating patient care. We recognize this. We have been innovating over the last 2 years to realize the content-powered agentic enterprise for all of you, so that all of you can innovate, experience business acceleration for your organizations, and bring joy back to your jobs, bring joy back to the jobs of all of your colleagues across your organizations. So now the question is really for you. The technology exists. The industry-leading partner in Hyland exists. You, content experts that have dedicated your careers to this craft, are here. You exist. So if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? And that is exactly why Next starts now. Thank you.